Hi, this is Randy Finney with Right Side of the Chart, and today is Tuesday, July 14th, 2015. I wanted to do a quick video on a trade I just personally took, and I may post this as an official, at least an unofficial trade ID on the site by the time you take a look at this video. But I just wanted to talk about Facebook, what it's done in the last pretty much close to a year now. It's been trading in this ascending price channel that I've been tracking. This is as I zoom out here, we're looking at really this is a 2-year history of the stock. You know, prices were way down here in the $25 range. You can just barely make out on the bottom left of the chart. Shot up, and if pretty much, you know, when they continue, the stock continues to climb, albeit at a much smaller pace, and it's in this ascending price channel. So disregard for the time being these horizontal support levels. Those are longer term supports if and when that channel breaks, which I expect to happen at some point probably this year. But as of now, I'm looking at just a short term trade, which I'll discuss. So the ascending price channel is defined by these white lines. This is the lower trend line here and the upper trend line here. And what I do on a lot of price channels that I'll find, it never fails to amaze me how well many of the stocks act off a midpoint. If you draw a midpoint line within the channel, and if we take a quick look here, you can see how prices traded above the midpoint of the channel early on. Now, of course, we didn't know there was a price channel there. You can't identify a price channel until we had these reactions here in early 2015, and at that point, you can start connecting the points. And and I've watched the stock, and it's behaved very well off both the top and bottom of the channel, as well as the midpoint of the channel, and that's what I was going to talk on today. So, going back to the beginning of the channel, you'll see some intraday pierces, but for the most part, when you see that the midpoint of this channel being challenged, in other words, it acts as support when tested from above and resistance when tested from below. And a lot of these attempts to get through it, let's say from below over here, you'll see an intraday pierce, but yet the candlestick closes, right on or just below. So those are failed attempts to break above the midpoint of the channel. And if you look at the price action, if we really zoom in here, for example, this red candlestick here, prices were tap, tap, tap. There was a big intraday breach, but prices closed back above the top of the channel. And then boom, when we finally broke down, you had this big red impulsive candlestick, strong selling, followed by additional selling to the bottom of the channel. And as is often the case when you get these tags on the top or the bottom of the channel, that then triggers a reaction, i.e. a bounce in this case when it hit the bottom, and that was a sharp move to the top of the channel. From there, prices gap down to just below the midpoint, and so forth and so on. You can see how well they traded below the midpoint of the channel. Finally had a breakout here with a very impulsive move in just 1, 2, 3 days. We hit the top of the channel, came back down again all the way to the bottom of the channel. When we came back and took out the midpoint here, prices bounced back up. Sorry, I had to pause it there for an interruption. Either way, I forget exactly where I was in this channel, but you can see this one period prices actually did kind of chop in between the midpoint. You had a tough time. Facebook really couldn't decide which way it wanted to go. Attempted to break above, fell back below the channel, and finally made a breakout. But from there, again, you can just take a look at the chart. You can see how well prices have acted, from above as support, the midpoint of this channel I'm referring to, and from below as resistance. And once it's taken out, boom, you can see again, look at these, here's another case, this big, strong, we had this daily close here back on June 22nd. The following day, we had this big move up in Facebook, followed by another move up, and we tagged the top of the channel and came back down. So where are we today? Here we are right now. Prices are at the very top of the channel. They attempted to break out above by a small margin. Again, I don't use absolutes here. If we're up above the channel or above the midpoint by a penny or two, it doesn't mean that's a solid breakout, especially what you want to see here end of day closes. So my point is today what I did is I just shorted Facebook, and I'll use a stop over today's highs. We're about 40 minutes from the close right now. So regardless of what the stock does today, I'll wait and set a stop tomorrow. And at this point, my target will be the midpoint of the channel. There's some horizontal support there. Let me extend this trend line here real quick and show you what I'm looking at here. So if we go forward a little bit in the future, let's do that. We would expect prices to come down something like this, and by the point that they come back to that trend line, we'll probably be at that horizontal support, which is defined. If you look to the left on the crosshairs, the horizontal line, and I'm going to take a look at the 60-minute chart here in a second, you'll notice that I'm clipping these recent candlestick lows as well as these candlestick highs back here. So once again, my expectation for Facebook is a move down. Don't hold me, to the dates, but this looks like somewhere, if it came down at this rate of ascent or rate of descent, that would be around the 24th, July 24th or so, give or take. And as you can see, if we move down at that rate, if it takes a little longer, that's fine. It could go into early August. But usually the reactions, especially off the upper tags of these trend lines, of the channel, are pretty quick. So we could come down there within a few days. And either way, that puts us at both right near the midpoint of this channel as well as that horizontal level I'm talking about there. So a short here with a stop above today's highs has very minimal downside. We're talking pennies, well under a point on the stock, and we're looking at roughly, with the stock trading about 90 right now and a target of roughly 85, you're looking about a 5-point downside. Now let's take a look at the 60-minute chart real quick. This helps confirm the entry. So not only are we trading now at the top of that price channel, but we also have, as you can see down here, negative divergence on both the MACD, the RSI. I have a custom, a 1333 moving average pair right here. This is just a histogram for that pair. The pair is not really shown on the screen. So either way, as prices are making a higher high, all the indicators and price momentum indicators and oscillators are making a lower high, which is negative divergence. And we also, if you look here, I talked about that horizontal support. We'll call it about 85.50. So that's where I see support. And as I often do, I'll have my price target right above there. Now, one alternative to this trade, and something I might do, is instead of putting a hard sell order in at, let's say, 85.57 or 58, somewhere around there, I may decide to just trail it down, because there is a possibility, especially if we see the broad market start to roll over, that Facebook will pull one of these famous, tag the top of the channel, visit the bottom of the channel. Tag the top of the channel, visit the bottom of the channel over time. Tag the top of the channel. And again, I'm looking, we never had a second follow-up tag. The only time we had another follow-up tag after hitting the top of the channel was here recently, where prices did pull back, came close to the midpoint, and are now pushed back up to the top of the channel. So, anything's possible. We can break above this channel and move higher. But if so, I'll be stopped out for a minimal loss. But I severely doubt that we would see prices come down a little bit and go on and come to hit the top of that channel again without at least revisiting the midpoint of the channel, in which case I may cover, some or all my position. Or once again, if the broad market starts to cooperate on the way down here in the next few days, I may just decide to trail my stops down to protect profits and maybe shoot for the bottom of that channel. So hope you guys enjoyed. This has been Randy Finney with Right Side of the Chart.